Have you ever been lying next to a man, maybe someone you're dating, someone you're getting close to, or even a man you've shared a deeply intimate moment with, and suddenly found yourself wondering what's actually happening inside his mind? Not the obvious things, not the surface level desires, but the softer, quieter thoughts he keeps tucked away behind that charming smile or that confident way he carries himself. Every man, no matter how tough, calm, or emotionally controlled he may seem, has private fantasies, little inner thoughts he rarely, if ever, says out loud. And the surprising truth is the fantasies men hide from you are not the ones most people assume. They're not wild, extreme, or purely physical. They're emotional, psychological, and deeply connected to how he wants to feel when he's with you. These are the kinds of fantasies that, if you understood them, would suddenly make so many of his behaviors make sense. Why he pulls you closer during certain moments, why he goes quiet in others, why his eyes soften when you touch him in a particular way that hits him deeper than you realize. But here's the real challenge. Men almost never share these true fantasies with the women they care about, not because they don't trust you, not because they don't feel close to you, but because they were raised to believe they should never show weakness, never show uncertainty, and never reveal anything that makes them seem vulnerable or needy. So what do they do instead? They smile, they flirt, they joke, they act confident, all while hiding these secret desires somewhere deep inside themselves. And because he never opens up about them, most women never get the chance to step into that private part of his world, the part that makes him bond, attach, and become emotionally tied to you in a way that feels almost addictive. Today I want to gently open that hidden door and reveal the fantasies men are often too embarrassed or too shy to admit. Because the moment you truly understand what he craves, not just physically but emotionally, you don't just become the woman he wants, you become the woman he can't get out of his mind, even when he tries. A lot of people assume men always want to lead, that they always want to be the one taking charge, initiating things, directing the pace, guiding every romantic or intimate moment. But if you really knew how a man's mind behaves when he genuinely likes a woman, when he's drawn to her, mesmerized by her, maybe even a little overwhelmed by how strongly she affects him, you'd notice something surprising. Men secretly fantasize about a woman taking soft, subtle, gentle control. Not in a harsh way, not in a way that threatens his masculinity, but in a way that tells him clearly and silently that you want him too, that you're not just reacting, you're engaging, you're choosing him right back. This fantasy isn't about dominance at all, it's about reassurance. Beneath the surface, even confident men worry about reading things wrong. They worry about crossing a line. They worry about making a move you didn't want. They worry about being disrespectful or pushing something too far. And sometimes they're simply nervous. Yes, even men who look bold and put together feel nervous, especially when the woman in front of them is someone they really like. Because the more he likes you, the more he fears ruining anything. So this fantasy becomes a kind of emotional relief for him. He imagines moments where you lean in first, or where you touch him softly in a way that tells him instantly that you feel the same. It's the fantasy of you giving him permission through your actions, not your words. It's you saying, without speaking, "I want this just like you do." When a woman makes a small intentional move, a gentle touch, a playful look, a tiny lean in during a conversation, it sends a message straight into his chest. It tells him he's not alone in his desire. It tells him he doesn't have to guess or second guess himself. It tells him the pressure isn't on him alone. Instead of him trying to figure out what you're thinking, you are showing him exactly how you feel. And to a man, that is unbelievably powerful. It wipes away doubt, quiets fear, eases hesitation, and, more than anything, creates connection. It makes him feel chosen, not just accepted. And here's the deeper psychological truth. Men are raised from childhood to always initiate. They're told to be bold, to take the first step, to lead every moment. But that expectation becomes heavy. Carrying that responsibility all the time becomes tiring in ways people rarely talk about. It's risky, it's vulnerable. And because men are not encouraged to express fear or insecurity, they carry all of it silently. So when a woman takes even a little of that weight off his shoulders, it feels like relief. Honest, warm, emotional relief. He feels seen, he feels valued, he feels wanted. Picture him sitting next to you, wondering if he should put his arm around you. He's thinking about it, doubting it, rehearsing it in his mind, even if on the outside he looks calm. Now imagine you gently place your hand on his arm first, or you lean your head toward his shoulder. To you it may feel small. To him, it's a spark. It's a green light. It's the answer to a question he was too unsure to ask. And that moment becomes unforgettable to him, not because it was dramatic or bold, but because you made the first tiny move in a warm, feminine way that made him feel wanted. This fantasy is not about controlling him. It's about creating connection. It's about showing him confidence, intention, and presence. When you take gentle initiative, you awaken something inside him. He becomes more open, more expressive, more attentive because he feels like he's finally meeting you halfway instead of carrying everything alone. And here's the secret most women have no idea about. When you take even small steps of initiative, you don't take away his role. You strengthen it. A man becomes more confident, more romantic, and more engaged when he knows you're just as invested in the moment. You giving him a little direction doesn't weaken him. It frees him. It lets him breathe. It unlocks parts of him he normally keeps guarded, and it makes him feel like he's with a woman who truly sees him, understands him, and makes him feel safe enough to be his full self. That's why this fantasy is so deeply powerful. It's not physical, it's emotional. It's about safety, connection, reassurance, and the feeling of being genuinely desired. And once a man experiences that with you, he will always remember how you made him feel. Another truth most women don't realize is this. Men don't only want to be wanted physically, they want to feel desired emotionally. They want to feel chosen, admired, appreciated, and craved by the woman they care about. But this is something they almost never admit. They hide it because they've been taught their whole lives to act strong, independent, and unbothered. So they bury this longing behind jokes, behind silence, behind distractions, behind a mask of confidence. But deep down, every man has moments where he quietly wonders, does she actually want me the way I want her? It's a soft insecurity, but a strong one, and it becomes one of his deepest fantasies. Being desired, not just accepted. Being wanted, not just tolerated. When a man is truly attracted to a woman, he feels this inner pressure to impress her. He wants to be enough. He wants her to look at him and feel something real. But even when he acts confident, even when he looks fully in control, there is always a part of him hoping you find him attractive, not just as a person, but as a man. Yes, but also in the way he moves, speaks, jokes, listens, and simply exists. Men don't talk about this because they don't want to look too sensitive. They don't want to expose how much your approval or attraction matters to them, even though it matters far more than most people realize. And when he isn't sure whether you truly want him, he quietly pulls back parts of himself. He becomes careful. He waits for signals. He wants to chase you, but he also hopes to feel chased in return. This fantasy isn't loud. It isn't dramatic or bold. It shows itself in subtle moments. It's in the way he pauses for your reaction when he holds your hand. It's in the look he gives you for half a second longer after making a joke. It's in the way he pays attention to the tone of your voice when you say hello. It's in the way his whole body softens when you're excited to see him. These tiny signs tell him everything because they show desire, not politeness or routine. When a woman makes a man feel truly wanted, something strong shifts inside him. He opens up. He expresses himself more. He becomes more giving with affection, attention, and effort because he finally feels safe enough to give without fear of being rejected. Men often fear being too much, too eager, too emotional, too invested. The world teaches them that needing reassurance is is unmanly, so instead of asking for it, they act like they don't need it at all. They pretend it doesn't touch them, but inside they imagine moments where the woman they care about looks at them with clear interest. Moments where she initiates a kiss, sits closer, or says something sincere about him that she truly means. Moments where she makes him feel attractive emotionally, mentally, and physically. It's not about praise. It's not about long speeches. It's about energy. It's about intention. It's about the warm, feminine signal that quietly says, "I want you too." That one message communicated through actions instead of words can completely disarm a man. It makes him feel chosen in a world where he has always been told that he must be the one doing the choosing. When a woman shows her desire in soft, genuine ways, she reaches into a part of him he rarely lets anyone touch. Your smile when he walks in, the gentle tone when you say his name, the extra second you hold on to him, the compliment you give him about something he didn't expect anyone to notice. These moments stay with him. They echo in his mind long after he's left, and they form a quiet emotional imprint that makes him think of you again and again. And here's the beautiful part. When a man feels desired by a woman he truly cares about, he becomes more loyal, more devoted, and more steady. Not because you demanded it, but because he feels something with you he doesn't feel anywhere else. He feels chosen, he feels valued, he feels wanted not only for what he does, but for who he is. And that is a fantasy he carries much deeper than he'll ever say. Another hidden fantasy many men have is the desire for gentle guidance from a woman they love. Not control, not criticism, not someone taking charge of everything, but soft direction that helps him understand what you enjoy, what makes you feel connected, and what brings you closer. People often imagine men always know exactly what to do, what to say, and how to create meaningful moments. But the truth is, most men are guessing far more than you think. Even the confident ones, even the experienced ones, they want to make you happy. They want to be the person who gives you comfort, safety, and excitement, but they're afraid of doing it wrong. And because men are rarely encouraged to talk openly about their uncertainty, they learn to hide it. They don't ask, they don't admit confusion, they simply try, silently hoping they are enough. This is where the fantasy of gentle guidance comes in. It's not about him wanting to give up his role. It's about wanting a deeper connection with you. When you guide him through touch, through soft reactions, through the warmth in your voice, you give him reassurance in a way that words alone can't. It tells him he's doing something right. It tells him he's pleasing you. It tells him you're not judging or comparing him. And to a man, that is incredibly comforting. It gives him a confidence he didn't realize he needed. A man feels the strongest bond when he feels he's in sync with you, but he can only be in sync if he knows what actually resonates with you. That's why men appreciate when a woman communicates without criticism, when she gently adjusts his hand to where she wants it, when she whispers, "I love that," or "just like that," or slower. These small cues don't make him feel controlled. They make him feel powerful. They make him feel capable. They make him feel like the two of you are building something together, instead of him feeling like he's performing alone. The fantasy isn't about you teaching him. It's about you welcoming him into your world, showing him what makes you feel safe, letting him see what helps you open up, sharing the rhythm that makes you feel emotionally aligned. And when a man feels trusted with that information, it touches him in a deeper place than he'll ever admit. Men crave teamwork in intimacy. They want cooperation, not perfection. They want connection, not competition. They dream of moments where you make success easy for them, where instead of guessing, they feel guided and appreciated. Gentle guidance is not a correction. It's an invitation. It's you letting him know how to love you in the way that only you understand. And here's the powerful part. Once a man experiences this from a woman who leads with softness, he becomes more attentive, more intuitive, and more invested, because he knows you're not expecting him to be flawless. You're simply asking him to be present with you. And that is something almost every man desires, even if he never finds the courage to say it out loud. Another surprising fantasy men secretly hold: one that goes against the usual stereotype, is the wish for emotional closeness woven into moments of physical intimacy. Most people assume men separate emotion from physical connection, that they focus only on the physical side. But when a man genuinely cares for a woman, when he's drawn to her in a way that goes beyond the surface, something inside him shifts. His mind begins to crave not just closeness, but meaning. He wants a moment where everything slows down, where he feels like he's not just with someone, but truly connected to her. It's a fantasy many men never talk about because they fear it sounds too emotional or too vulnerable, but it quietly exists inside almost all of them. At the center of this fantasy is the desire to feel truly present with someone. A man wants to feel a woman's attention, her softness, her warmth, her nearness. He wants to feel seen by her, not just looked at physically, but understood on an emotional level. Small things that women often overlook become incredibly meaningful to him. The way you pause and look into his eyes before you move closer, the way you touch him with purpose instead of habit, the way you breathe near him slowly, calmly, as if nothing is pulling you away. These simple gestures make him feel deeply connected, but he usually doesn't know how to ask for any of it. Men are raised to hide their emotions, especially in intimate moments. They believe showing emotion makes them appear weak or unsure, so even when he wants a deeper bond, he pretends he doesn't. He acts relaxed, he acts untouched, he acts strong, but inside, he is longing for something real. A moment where he feels chosen, valued and cared for. A moment where you're not just close with your body, but open with your heart. This fantasy becomes strongest when he truly likes you. He doesn't only want chemistry, he wants harmony. He wants subtle but meaningful moments, like you holding his face for a second longer, whispering something soft, or resting your forehead gently against his. These small actions create a closeness that goes far beyond anything physical. They tell him he's safe with you. They say, "You're not just sharing time with me, you're sharing yourself with me." This is the part many women don't fully realize. Emotional intimacy makes a man more devoted than anything else. When he feels this depth with you, he becomes gentler, more caring, more thoughtful, because he feels bonded to you in a way that is rare and precious for him. He feels like he's not only giving, he's receiving something too, and that balance makes the moment unforgettable in his mind. This hidden fantasy isn't about big romantic speeches or dramatic gestures. It's about simple, steady, emotional presence. It's about being with each other in a warm, attentive, sincere way. When a man shares this kind of moment with a woman he truly cares about, it becomes a memory he carries with him quietly. It becomes the kind of feeling that makes him want you even more deeply because you touched a part of him he rarely lets anyone see. Another deeply overlooked fantasy men have, but almost never talk about, is witnessing the woman they're drawn to fully step into her confidence. Not the loud, showy kind, not the type meant to impress everyone around you or prove something to the world, but the quiet, graceful, feminine confidence that shows through your presence, your energy, your decisions, and the way you move when you feel secure in your own body and mind. Men rarely confess this, but it affects them more than you think. They are naturally drawn to a woman who knows her value, who isn't shrinking herself, who isn't questioning every little step. A woman who trusts her own appeal has a unique kind of magnetism, the kind that makes a man not only attracted but inspired to rise to her level. Most men won't express this fantasy because they don't want to seem like they expect anything from you. They don't want to add pressure, but deep down, they crave the experience of being with a woman who radiates assurance. A woman who smiles like she knows she's desirable, who speaks as if she knows her voice matters, who walks into a space as though she belongs there, and who interacts with him from a place of choice, not fear, insecurity, or doubt. This speaks to a very deep part of the male mind because men are naturally pulled toward emotional certainty. When you're grounded, calm, and aware of yourself, it gives him permission to settle into his best, most genuine self too. A man fantasizes about moments where you laugh freely without worrying how you look, moments where you touch him because you simply want to, not because you're thinking too hard about what he expects, moments where you say what you like, what you don't like, and what you prefer without apologizing for it. Your confidence becomes a safe space for him, not by overpowering him, but by showing him you're not depending on him to define your worth. Instead, you're inviting him into a world where you already feel whole, and that makes the connection richer, easier, and more sincere. There is something incredibly attractive to men about a woman who doesn't hide her natural glow. When you express what you enjoy, when you lean into your feminine strengths, when you allow yourself to feel beautiful without needing someone to confirm it, it activates a deeper level of desire in him. He begins to see you not just as someone he wants, but someone he respects. And admiration is one of the strongest emotions a man can feel for a woman. It makes him loyal, attentive, and genuinely invested. This fantasy isn't about perfection. It's not about being a woman who never feels nervous or never feels unsure. It's about being a woman who trusts herself even when she feels uncertain, who allows herself to feel desirable, who owns her presence instead of fighting against it. Men fantasize about this because confidence in a woman brings out a softer, more generous, more emotionally open side of them, one they don't share easily. And here's the beautiful irony. The moment you step into your confidence, you don't just fulfill a fantasy he's too shy to mention. You awaken a version of him that only shows up in the presence of a woman who knows her value. When you look at these hidden fantasies, his desire for gentle initiative, his longing to feel wanted, the comfort he finds in your guidance, the deep craving for emotional closeness, and the pull he feels toward your quiet confidence, you begin to understand something important. Men aren't as complicated as they seem. They're not made of steel. They're not untouched by fear, longing, or the wish to feel chosen by the woman who draws them in. A man's deepest fantasies have little to do with anything purely physical, and far more to do with feeling emotionally safe, connected, and desired by someone he genuinely admires. And when you learn to understand these hidden desires, you unlock a deeper influence. Not in a manipulative way, but in a connected way. You start to notice how small actions matter, how your presence shifts something in him, how your confidence changes the energy, how your warmth calms him. You start to realize you don't need to be perfect, dramatic, or overly impressive to make a man feel something unforgettable. You just need to show up as a woman who knows her worth, who isn't afraid to express softness, and who allows connection to unfold naturally instead of forcing or performing it. If you want deeper love, if you want a man who invests, who commits, who shows up, start trying even one of these insights. See how he responds when you take a little initiative. Notice how his face changes when he feels desired. Watch how he relaxes when you guide him gently or show emotional presence. These aren't tricks, they're bridges. If you found this video helpful, make sure you like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments about which hidden fantasy surprised you the most. And if you want more powerful insights into what men feel but almost never say, stay tuned because this channel is here to help you build the love life you deserve.